Okay, so we will start. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to live number 2 of our workshop, Engineer Journey 2024, where tonight we're going to talk about the validation reports, the 3 types of validation reports that you need to do. We're going to talk about the risks of plagiarism and also some of the hints what could be considered to be plagiarism as well, and obviously the consequences if you ended up getting caught by Engineers Australia. Okay, so just a reminder that tonight we're going to draw another 15 minutes of free consulting, and that's going to be the post-it challenge. So what you need to do, you just need to go to my Instagram post about the post-it challenge, this one. So what you need to do, you need to do a post-it note, write in the post-it note, I will become an engineer in Australia in 2024, and then stick on the fridge door or somewhere that you see every day, and then take a photo, post in your stories, and mark my profile. It's important that you double check with me if I can see your post-it note in your stories, because sometimes you post it and either because you don't follow me or because I don't follow you, I don't see that you marked my profile. And once you do that, you go to the post-it note postage in Instagram and just write in the comments, done. So then I know that you've done the post-it note. And then towards the end of the live session, I will run again the website to draw a lucky winner of the free 15 minutes of free consulting. And Larissa is saying that she paused her Instagram. Yeah, okay. Well, nevertheless, I think it's still worthwhile you do your post-it note. Remember, it's about the positive thinking, somewhere that you can see the message every day, so you keep reminding yourself of your objective to become an engineer in Australia in 2024. So, yeah, tomorrow we'll work again. All right, okay. And the QR code is on the screen, so if you point your camera there, it will take directly to the post-it note post in Instagram. And also, for the discount of 75% in my online mentoring program, Validation Formula, that I'm going to open a new group tomorrow. Similar thing, you need to take a screenshot of tonight's live session as well. Live number 1 last night and live number 2 tonight. Take a screenshot or take a photo of your screen, post in your stories with marking my profile, and then go to the post about the 75% discount, which is the green one, and like the post, mark an engineer and write in the comments one lesson that you learned from last night's live session and one lesson that you're going to learn or you learned in tonight's live session. And that's it. So tomorrow during live number 3, you don't need to do anything. You just need to obviously be present during the live number 3. And then I will do the draw again. And there will be a lucky winner that's going to get more than $1,000 of discount in my mentoring program. So the QR code is also there for you to go to the postage, but very important, if you don't really, if you didn't take the screenshot last night, you can always go to the workshop website. I'm going to put the link in here, www.angqualvalworkshop.com. And the replay is there, so you can watch the replay in the workshop, take a picture or screenshot of live number 1 from last night, and still post in your stories. You still have the chance to win the 75% discount. Okay, good. So what did we see last night in live number 1? If somebody missed the live number 1 last night, we spoke about the opportunity for life transformation when you become an engineer in Australia, the different pathways to validate your engineering qualification depending on the country that you graduated and depending on the year that you graduated as well. The 6 steps for the CDR process, competency demonstration report, which is the majority of engineers in the world, they will need to follow the CDR steps, competency demonstration report, because there's just a limited number of countries that they are full signatories of the International Engineering Alliance. I think about 24, 25 countries. All the rest of the countries in the world, they need to do competency demonstration report. And for that, we saw the 6 steps for the CDR process. And we also explored about the International Engineering Alliance. We spoke about the Washington Accord, the Sydney Accord, and the Dublin Accord. And what you're going to see tonight in live number 2, I'm going to run quickly on the migration skills assessment booklet, like a mini tutorial, how you can find it, the important parts of it, and how you need to study the booklet as well. We're going to talk about the CPD, the continuing professional development, the career episodes, the summary statement, and the risks of plagiarism as well. And also, in case you don't get what you're expecting in terms of outcome, the result of your application, Engineers Australia has 2 types of internal review, and I'm going to explain to you what are those processes. So, the Migration Skills Assessment booklet. And for that, I will I'll stop sharing this screen, and I will share my browser. So you guys can see how to find the booklet. So very simple. So that's the workshop website again. So you can watch the replay of the warm-up session, live number 1, and obviously from tomorrow you'll be able to watch the replay of live number 2. So how do you find the migration skills assessment? So just go to Engineers Australia website. So engineersaustralia.org.au. So that's a homepage of Engineers Australia. You go to the menu, and then on the left-hand side for migrants, and then migration skills assessment, and assessment fees, additional service, view all migration skill assessment. So that's a page of the migration skills assessment. And then there's I suggest you to read very carefully the whole page, read everything very carefully. As I keep saying, the success in the validation process is about 80% planning and just 20% writing. So as a good engineer, you know that the better you plan, less effort you will have when you are executing your plan. Similar thing to the validation process. The better you plan, easier it's going to be your writing, the report writing. So that's what I keep saying, 80% planning, 20% writing. So it's important. You can check your qualification. We spoke about the categories there. Remember, the professional engineer, the engineering technologies, associate, and engineering manager. And the different pathways that we saw there. And the booklet you will find in here. Prepare your application. In here, you will find a link, prepare your migration skills assessment application. So you click in there, and then you will open the PDF, prepare your migration skills assessment application booklet. So that's the booklet. So when you open the PDF, you'll be opening the booklet. The version is from July 2022. It's very important that you always open the booklet from the Engineers Australia website, because it's always the most up-to-date version. Sometimes I see people, and people want to help in groups on the Facebook, etc. Sometimes they ended up sending links to an older version. I've seen already people sending links to the 2016 version, and the latest prior to this one was 2020. They were sending the 2020 version. So it's always important to double check that you're always getting the last version. So the booklet is going to be your bedside table. From now on, if you're really serious about getting your engineering qualification validated, the booklet, print it out, and you will have to have in your bedside, and really looking at, just a second. What? Sorry, my wife was asking something here. So the booklet needs to be your bedside book. So you need to read not just once, not twice, not 5 times. You probably need to read about 10 times. And I'm not joking. You will need to read a lot, repeatedly, until you understand everything. If you don't understand, especially the competencies, if you don't understand everything, you're not going to be able to be very successful. So why is that? It's going to be difficult for you to write about something if you don't understand what that something is. So do you agree with me? How come can you write about something if you don't know what is that something? So it talks about ethical standards that we're going to talk about, the English language requirements that we spoke about yesterday as well. So in each of those, there's lots and lots of links. It's important that you click in every single link. So here, competency demonstration report, you read about the CDR, and then there's a link, occupational category. Click on that link. It will open up the professional engineer. It will open up the engineering technologist. It will open up the engineering associate, and it will open up the engineering manager. So especially for professional engineers, if you are going to do the professional engineer, you will see that here you'll find the competency standard for the professional engineers. Where's that? Where was I? So make sure that you read the booklet and you understand everything about the booklet as well. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. Where is that? Here. So again, the booklet will be your bedside reading book. And also, you need to read 5 to 10 times, as I said, no joking, and understand each section of the booklet. And here's that's where you're going to get your booklet from Engineers Australia website. So we spoke about the processes yesterday. We spoke about your personal documentation, how you choose your category and the occupation, and how you're going to prepare your academic documentation, your employment reference letters, and then step number 5, it's going to be your reports. And there are 3 types of reports. The first type of report is your CPD, your continuing professional development. The second type of report is going to be your career episodes, and you need to write 3 experiences. And the third type of report is going to be your summary statement. And we're going to see all of those tonight. So the first one is your CPD, Continuing Professional Development. And it's important to understand why Engineers Australia is asking you the CPD. When I was talking with them, they explained to me that the importance of the CPD is especially for those engineers that already graduated like 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. They want to know that as an engineer, you kept yourself up to date with the technology, with the innovations, with the with the engineering field that you graduated. So I'm a civil engineer. I work with roads, bridges, infrastructure. So I need to make sure that I keep myself up to date with a lot of things, with technology, with systems, construction systems, construction methodologies, materials, equipment, machinery, processes, etc. So many things that I need to keep myself up to date. And I need to prove that to Engineers Australia, especially because I am a chartered professional engineer. And as a chartered professional engineer, I need to prove at least 150 hours in the last 3 years. In your case, when you're validating your qualification, you don't have minimum hours. It's not required minimum hours. Minimum hours is just required when you are trying to get your chartered professional engineer, your CPH, or you are maintaining your CPH. If you are going to be registered as well as a professional engineer, you will need to demonstrate minimum minimum CPD as well. But in the validation process, you don't need to demonstrate minimum hours. And a confusion that people make is that the CPD events is not just courses. People often say to me, Jerson, but I haven't participated in a course for a long time. Me too. I don't do courses all the time. But CPD events, it's not just about courses. It's about professional development events. And professional development events can be courses, of course, because you attend a training, you attend a course, you get a certificate, you learn something. But you also can learn and develop professionally in doing other things. For example, apart from post-graduation courses, conferences as presenter or participant, workshops, short courses, seminars, discussion groups, technical inspections, technical visits, preparation and presentation of course material, could be at work, could be at conferences, could be at symposiums when you're preparing material. Sometimes I've seen engineers already preparing booklets, manuals, instructions, work directions, work instructions, specifications. All of those things, it's all professional development. Also, another category is about services to the engineering profession, especially volunteer work. A good example is when I participate in Engineers Australia as industry peer review for engineers wanting to become chartered professional engineers. My time assessing the documentation, assessing career episodes, evaluating, participating in interviews, it's all part of my CPD. I actually get a letter from Engineers Australia saying that I could use between 5 and 8 hours of CPD in that category, services to the engineering profession. And also private study. So this category, private study, is a category that you're going to use quite a lot, especially because it includes reading technical books, reading technical magazines, participating in, for example, Engineers Australia webinars. It could be journals, it could be manuals. If you are studying a technical specification, if you're studying, for example, legislation, especially here in Australia, it's very important that you are aware of the safety legislation. It's important that you are aware of the environmental protection legislation. So when you are reading legislation, it's not very fun, but it's a professional development event. You can use that as your CPD. So what I suggest you to do tonight is to grab a Word document or a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, or make a table. And as it says in the PowerPoint, create one table of one page. The CPD is just one page, the size A4, and put 5 columns in that table. The first column is going to be the title of your CPD event. Second column is going to be the date. Third column is going to be the duration of that CPD event, and then venue and organizer. So let's say, for example, you participate in a webinar with Engineers Australia. Let's have a look to see if there's what events you can participate. And there are lots and lots of free events with Engineers Australia. So let's share again the browser, and then I can show you where to find it. So you go to Engineers Australia website. In the menu, you go to, I believe, learning and events. And then here, there are events, webinars, and courses. So let's say it's got everything here, but let's say webinars, because webinars, usually they are the free ones. So when you filter by webinars, this one I know that's for free, becoming chartered with 15 or more years of experience. So once you get your qualification validated, pretending that you have more than 15 years of experience. You will see that you can participate in this webinar. Engineers Australia is going to explain to you how you can become chartered professional engineer if you have 15 or more years of experience. You can register, and here you see that it's an online event, and it's free. It's free for members, it's free for student member, and it's also free for non-members. And that's going to take 1 hour, which means that if I attend this event, I get 1 hour of CPD towards my development. But they have many other events that potentially could be for free. So let's have a look. This one is something that probably all of you should be doing. It's about safety. What is reasonably practicable, a work health and safety perspective? Here in Australia, when you talk about safety at the workplace, obviously sometimes it's impossible to think about everything, but the legislation, if you have control of, let's say, a crew or a team or number of people, legislation says that you need to demonstrate that you've done everything that was reasonably practicable to do. So, but you need to understand what reasonably practicable is. So this webinar is going to talk about that. And for member is free. For technical social member is $30. Student member is free, and non-member is $30. So yeah, $30. It's not free, but I think it's a very important piece of information that you probably need to understand, and certainly can be towards your CPD. This other one is to structural civil and structural engineers. AS 5100 is the Australian standards for bridge design. So they're going to talk about this one. And again, for non-members is $30. For members is for free as well. And this one is actually going to be in person, and online is going to be in Sydney. Those ones in Sydney, if you can attend, it's also a very good opportunity to start networking. Networking in Australia is very important, especially if you want to get a job in the industry, because when you network with people, you talk with people, you share your experiences, and you never know. Maybe the engineer that you are having just a conversation in those events is an engineer that is the manager of an area, is a director of the company, whatever, and they might need somebody with your profile, and they could be willing to engage you, even knowing that you need a visa, etc. So that's why networking is so important. And remember, there's a shortage of engineers in Australia. So even if you need a sponsor, if you need a visa, a company to pay for your visa process, a lot of companies, they are willing to do that. If they cannot find that engineer domestically with the rights to work already, they may engage you to work part-time if you are an international student, for example, and then just to see how you go. And once you demonstrate what you're capable of, they might offer you a sponsorship. Who knows? And it can start on a networking event like this. So here is where you can choose the some of the resources. I think there are some some professional standards library. Let's see here. So there are some other documentation that you can read. For example, let's see if we can find chemical engineering. So what does it say here? Chemical engineer, areas of practice. So here is going to just say the things that chemical engineers they do here. And it talks about, I think, to enter in the college of the chemical engineering. Engineers Australia has different colleges. I'm part of the civil college. Let's have a look at the resources here that you can see. Maybe books. Some of them, obviously, you need to pay. Yeah, there's tunnel design. There's a few others there. What else in the resources? Publication library. Yeah, there's a whole heap of documentation and literature that you can read, and you can accumulate your CPD as well. So you need to be a little bit creative in trying to find the professional development events that you need. Okay. I'll stop sharing this one. And I'll go back to the PowerPoint presentation. But very important tip about the CPD is for you to create this table. Create this after this live session. Sit in your computer, open a Word or an Excel, create this table, 5 columns, and start populating that, especially if you're going to start now. Because if you're going to apply for your validation in 3, 4, 5 months or 6 months, 1 year, if you don't start now, you'll have a rush and you will forget things, etc. So it's important that you start populating this. If you graduated, let's say, 10 years ago, it's also important that the CPD events, also just those events after you graduated. CPD events or learning events before your graduation, it doesn't count. It just counts after you graduated. Even technical visits. If you, let's say that you are a production engineer, and then in the past you visited a factory or a manufacturing plant, and because the company implemented a new production process, and you were there to learn about that production process, so you could perhaps replicate and implement the same production process in a different plant. So that event, if you learned something, it is a professional development event. And how would that be in your table? So the title would be Technical Visit to ABC Plant to learn about the new one-digit production system. I'm just making that up, just for example. Date. Let's say it was the 15th of August 2021. Duration, 3 hours, 1 day, whatever. Venue, it was on site, and then you put the address of that particular plant. Organizer, whoever organized. If it was the company, just put the name of the company. And that's it. You don't need more than that. And Engineers Australia does not require you to prove a certificate. You don't need to send certificates or copies of statement of attendance, etc. However, it's important that you don't make it up make sure that you just record your CPD of events in case Engineers Australia asks you for evidences. You have the evidences to demonstrate that. If it is a meeting, if it is a site visit, perhaps you have the calendar entry for that visit. For chartered professional engineers like myself, Engineers Australia, they do audits, and we need to send evidences. Okay, so that was about CPD. It's not very complicated. Don't stress too much about CPD. You will be able to come up with something in your CPD. What you need to focus is your career episodes and your summary statement. So the career episode is an account of your engineering education and or work experience. Engineers Australia does not require work experience for you to be validated as an engineer. Engineers Australia, I think it's the only assessing organization in Australia that does not require work experience. You can be fresh graduated from university and still be validated as an engineer here in Australia. Maybe you've graduated some time ago, but you never worked as an engineer in your life. It's not a problem. You can use your academic engineering experience. Or you can use both. You can use your academic engineering experience and your work experience. Depends, obviously, which experience you believe is going to be best suited, that will give you better chances to be approved. Each career episode focuses upon a specific period or distinct aspect of your engineering activity. And each career episode, you need to write 3 in total. You need to make sure that when you write your career episodes, some people, they ask the question, Gerson, I worked in a company for like 5 years, always worked in the same area, always doing the same thing. So my examples are going to be very similar. I'd say, well, if that's what you have, it's that what you have. If you don't have anything else, you need to grab what you have. But remember that you can go back to your academic studies and perhaps you can choose an experience from university. Maybe your final, your conclusion assignment, your TCC, as you say in Brazil. And then you use your TCC and 2 work experiences. However, if you just want to use your work experience, try to find, even though they probably the same, but try to find the experiences that they are slightly different. They had a particular engineering problem that you had to solve, and that you can explore a little bit more. And when you're going to write your career episodes, your experiences can be an engineering task undertaken as part of your educational program at university, a project you have worked on or you are currently working on, a specific position that you occupied or currently occupy. It's not just the role description, but you need to describe what was the experience, the engineering problem, the engineering project, or the task, the engineering task that you did. I particularly like the last one here, a particular engineering problem that you were required to solve. And why do I like the engineering problem? Because it's very logical. You have a problem, you think about options to resolve that problem, then you used your engineering judgment and knowledge to decide which option, and then you implement that option and you get a final result solving that engineering problem. So there's a logic. You have a start, you have the middle, and you have the end. And remember that the assessors, the people, the engineers that are going to evaluate your application, they are engineers. And majority of engineers, they're very logical. So if you use a logical strategy, you're probably going to get a good report with the assessor and more chances to be successful. In the career episode, this is very important because it talks about plagiarism. It's written in the booklet that career episodes must be based on work conducted personally by you and must be written entirely in your own words. Presenting work conducted by others as your own and or using other people's word, templates, career episodes, online sources, etc., is considered plagiarism and is a violation of Engineers Australia Code of Ethics. And this carries significant penalties, including the rejection of the application, imposition of up to 36 months ban, and no reporting of your details to the Department of Home Affairs for further investigation and action. So translating this, you probably saw, because you probably all did some Google search about CDR already, and there are lots and lots of companies that they offer services to write, to prepare your career episodes, to prepare your CPD, to prepare your summary statement. And they will write for you. You just give them your CV and a summary of what the project was, and they will make it up and they'll write for you. And they're also going to promise you to give you a plagiarism-free report. I use the analogy that this plagiarism-free report is like when you go to China or Paraguay and you buy something fake, you know that's fake, and they say that this is your certificate of authenticity. Well, you know that's fake. So that certificate of authenticity has no value because you know that's fake. And that's the same as this plagiarism-free report. They're going to promise you that you're never going to get caught by Engineers Australia because they give you this plagiarism-free report. But I already got many, many calls from people that engage those companies. Engineers Australia caught them, imposed a ban of 36 months, 3 years, and they were asking me to help them to solve their problem. And as I said before, I don't do one-on-one consulting, and I couldn't help them. So, and the complication also goes that Engineers Australia will inform the Department of Home Affairs. Why do they do this? Because it's part of a migration process. And they will say that this candidate was banned in applying to Engineers Australia because they had unethical behavior. And that could impact your character assessment with the Department of Home Affairs. As you know, I know because I did already, they asked me character assessment. It is part of that. The evaluation when you apply for a visa, they assess your character. And it's not going to be good for your visa application if you have from Engineers Australia that you practiced unethical behavior and you were rejected by Engineers Australia. So it's not a good start here in Australia, obviously. But you are all adults. I'm not here to give you a speech what you should do or what you shouldn't do. I'm just here raising the awareness and alerting you to the consequences and risks. So just be careful because, you know, if you ring me asking for help, if and when Engineers Australia catches you, if you did plagiarism, you know already the answer. I cannot help you. I cannot even help people that they don't do plagiarism people doing plagiarism, then yeah, surely I'm not going to help. And some people, they said, Jerson, I pay you $5,000 to help me. I said, it's not about the money. I don't have time. So, and Engineers Australia already got you. They're going now, when you submit another application, they're going to read word by word. So unfortunately, you have a black mark in your name. So, but it's up to you. Some people, they desperate, they don't think too much, and sometimes they do what they shouldn't be doing. Some of the things that when those people, they called me and I asked the question because I want to know why they were caught by plagiarism. And these are some of the things that they told me. And they all had this plagiarism-free report. And I see, every day I see in the Facebook groups, unfortunately, there are some colleagues of mine, profession engineers in Brazilians, that they do this. They write for people, they do this and they do that. Yeah, that's okay. But some of the risks of plagiarism: using online templates, engaging CDR writers, asking someone else to write your reports, asking someone to translate your reports to English. That's a very important. A lot of people, they ask me the question, Jerson, can I write in my own language, let's say Portuguese, and then I will translate to English? And I say, yes, of course you can. You write whatever you want. If you want to write in Portuguese and then translate into English, if it's easier for you to write the basic report in your own language and then translate to English, it's up to you. But make sure that you translate yourself. Don't ask a translator to do that, because if a translator translates the text, it's not your own words. And remember what Engineers Australia has in the booklet, using your own words. So even using Google Translator and Grammarly and those sort of things and ChatGPT, Engineers Australia, they are all aware of that, and they have very advanced and sophisticated plagiarism detection softwares. And obviously, it's impossible to catch everybody. Some people will probably pass, but you always have the risk of being caught. Using photos, pictures from the internet without citing the source. If you don't put where you got the picture from, Engineers Australia will interpret that you are using that photo as being yours. And because it's not yours, if they find that that photo or picture was from somebody else, if you don't give credit to that person, you're taking the credit to you. And that is misleading information. That is unethical behavior, and that is plagiarism. And using somebody else's career episode as example. Again, I know that there are people wanting to help. They make available, they send by email their career episodes, even though they're saying, please don't copy. And then the other people say, yeah, I'm not going to copy, I'm just going to read and just to have an idea how I should write. But you're always going to, your brain, when you read, your brain will always going to write something almost the same as what you read. And the chances of having 30%, 40% plagiarism, that's probably already enough for Engineers Australia to ask you a question. Why is your career episode matching 30, 40% with a career episode that we already have in our archives, and it matched with plagiarism? So you need to remember that Engineers Australia has all those career episodes they have in their system. So just be careful with that. Okay, so let's say that you applied and you ended up getting a response from Engineers Australia. Different scenarios. One scenario is that you applied for professional engineer category, and Engineers Australia comes back to you saying that the content that you presented is not at a professional engineer level, it is at the engineering technologist level. And you're not happy with that because you wanted professional engineer because of your migration process, etc., etc., etc. So what you can do, you can lodge an internal review. So you ask Engineers Australia for an internal review, and currently it's costing $346.50, including GST, goods and service tax. If you are in Australia, if you are outside Australia, you take away 10%. This review is conducted by an independent assessor, may take up to 8 weeks, according to Engineers Australia website, and you have up to 3 months upon receiving your assessment outcome. So when you apply, you get your assessment, you have 3 months to lodge your internal review. Let's say that you apply for internal review. It comes back saying that, sorry, but we're going to keep our decision. And you're still not happy, you can apply for a formal appeal. Nowadays, costs $660, including GST. It's conducted by an independent review panel, not just one assessor, but a panel of reviewers. And the time frame, according to Engineers Australia website, is about 6 months. You have 6 months of receiving the original outcome. And the assessment may take 3 months or more to come back. So yeah, you need to make sure that you're absolutely confident that what you presented is good, because you're investing almost $1,000 there in review, and also time, because it can take 5-6 months until you get all the final results. And Engineers Australia saying that the outcome of the appeal is final. There's no other administrative process for you to review. You could go to court, to the justice system. So that's another story. You've got to talk then to a lawyer. All right, summary statement. Just before I go to summary statement, there are a few things in the career episode that I probably should talk with you. Remember that here, it says here, career episodes must be based on work conducted personally by you. So if it is personally by you, it means that when you're writing your career episodes, it needs to be always in first person. Always. I calculated this. I designed that. I tested this. I wrote that. I analyzed this. I researched this. I collected this information. So everything is about you. In my case, I would say I. I know that's uncomfortable because we all been taught to talk about we, team, teamwork, a group, we, us, those sort of things. But when it comes to validation process, it's all about you. Engineers Australia wants to know about your competency, your skills. They don't want to know about the team's capability, the team's capacity, or the team's skills. They want to know about your skills. Oh yeah, Jerson, but I'm going to use a project that was delivered by a team, and I was part of the team. I cannot say that I did everything myself because I would be lying. And of course, you're not going to lie, because if you say that you did everything, when in fact the team did part of it and you did part of it, when you say that you did everything, you're lying. It's plagiarism. So what you can do, if you are going to use a project that was delivered by a team, you can say that the team, and then you describe about what you did in that project, what were your activities in that project. You can say that the project was by a team, by a group, but every time that you say the team or us or we, you need to be very specific. We had, let's say, we did a research. Okay, it's not good, just did. We did a research about something. What you need to say is that we did a research on this, and my activities in that research were to draft the questions, to analyze the results, to collect data, etc., etc. So you can say that we did the research, but then you need to add what you did in that research to be very clear your activities, so the assessor knows that the research was done as a group, but your activities, so always in the first person and in the past. One thing that I should say to you guys, which is going to be part of the summary statement, you need to demonstrate 16 competencies. When you're writing your career episodes, you need to make sure that in your narrative, you include 16 competencies. You don't need to, it's not mandatory to include all the 16 competencies in every single of the 3 career episodes. However, I advise you, and I strongly advise my students, that they should have all the 16 competencies in every of the 3 career episodes. Why is that? Because that makes your application very strong. And that's why 36 of my students already applied, and 36 of my students got approved. All of them, 100%, because their application were very strong. So, and competency. What's the definition of competency? Competency is when you have the theoretical knowledge, and then you apply that knowledge, and your supervisor confirms that you did that. So for example, let's say that I designed a bridge. So am I competent in that? Let's see the pieces of evidence. Remember, 3 pieces of evidence. One is the theoretical knowledge. If I can demonstrate that at university I studied bridge design, then tick, I've got the theoretical knowledge. If I wrote that I designed the bridge and I can include the calculations, some of the screenshots of the software and the AutoCAD, etc. Tick. I implemented, I applied that knowledge. And if my supervisor states, yes, Gerson, he designed that bridge. He worked in the company, I was his supervisor, and he designed that bridge. So my supervisor is confirming that I designed a bridge. Tick. I have the 3 pieces of evidence, which means that I can be considered competent in designing a bridge. So competencies, there are 16 competencies that you need to address, and they need to be in the career episodes. How do you write your career episodes? Usually, you start with an introduction. It's about 100 words. In the introduction, you're going to say what is going to be your experience of your career episode, where it happened, when it happened, and what company or university that happened. So very basic, 100 words. And then you're going to write the second part of your report, career episode, which is going to be your background. In the background, you're going to talk about the internal and external objectives. You're going to talk about the activities that you did. You're going to give a little bit more details of the engineering problem or the project that you're going to talk about. You're going to put a nice organizational chart showing where you were in your team or in the company, and also the specific activities in your work area. And the background is going to be about 200, 400, 500 words. And then you're going to go to the personal engineering activity, which is the main body of your career episode. In the personal engineering activity, you will, let's say that it's going to be your problem, the engineering problem that you solved. You're going to narrate the what, the how, the when, the why, the options. In the case of a problem, you can describe that you implemented, you used problem resolution method, stating what was the problem, the different options that you had, the pros and cons of each option, what were the engineering knowledge and judgment that you used to select the best option, how you went about implementing that option, showing your calculations, showing the technical specifications that you used, the diagrams, the tables, the software, the screenshots of this and that, etc. And then what was the final result. And then you finish your career episode with your summary, saying that in the beginning there was a problem, and then I solved the problem by doing that. The outcome was this. I worked in a team, or I was a leader of the team. I developed my engineering skills. I applied my engineering judgment, etc., etc., and I solved the problem, meeting the original objectives, something like that. So introduction, background, personal engineering activity, and summary. So that's going to be the structure of your career episodes. And each of the paragraphs, it's important that you number each paragraph. For example, career episode number 1, paragraph number 1. So that's going to be 1.1. So your introduction probably will start with 1.1. Career episode number 1, paragraph number 1. And let's say that your introduction has 2 paragraphs. So first will be 1.1. The second paragraph will be 1.2. So, and then you write your background and your personal engineering activity, and then you go to the summary. And let's say that your summary is going to be paragraph number 25. So write in the chat, guys, if your summary is going to start in paragraph number 25 and you're writing about career episode number 1, what's going to be the number of that paragraph? So let's see if you're paying attention. So write in the comments, please. Your summary is going to be of your career episode number 1 is going to be, let's say, paragraph number 25. Yeah, 1.25, 1.25, C 1.25. Yeah, that's good. And then you do this for career episode number 2 and number 3. Similar thing, the first number is going to be the number of your career episode. So let's say that career episode number 1, paragraph number 14, is going to be 2.14. And a tip, avoid writing a paragraph which is too long. I've seen paragraphs that they have like 300 words. It's too long. Probably it's got a lot of competencies mixed up. So a nice paragraph length is between 75 and 100 words. Don't write a paragraph with just one sentence as well. because then you have lots and lots of paragraphs. Why is that? You need to be logical when you're splitting your paragraphs, because you don't want a very long paragraph which probably talks about 5 or 10 competencies, and then you're always referring that paragraph number, and the assessor has to read the full paragraph all the time just to find that the last sentence is the competency that you're talking about. The assessor is going to be quite annoyed. So make sure that you write between, yeah, 50, 75, maximum 100 words per paragraph. Oh yeah, the personal engineering activity will probably have between 600 and 1,000, sometimes 1,500 words, and the summary will have about 100 and 150 words. The booklet talks about minimum of 1,000 words and maximum of 2,500 words. I always advise my students so they write close to the maximum number of words, 2,500 words. Why is that? Because if they write more, they can include more competencies. So the career episode becomes more, how can I say, solid and stronger. Okay? So the summary statement. As I said before, there are 16 competencies to be addressed. For each competency, you need to number the paragraphs in the career episode. And I'm going to show you here how is the summary statement in the Engineers Australia website. So the middle column, or the left-hand column, will have the competencies. The middle column, I call middle column, is where you're going to write the reasons why you believe you are competent in that competency. And then the right-hand side, I'd say that it's where you're going to number the paragraphs, where the assessor needs to go to verify your competencies. I'm just going to open here. I'm just going to open here the summary statement in the Engineers Australia website. So I stop sharing this one, and I'll share the website. So what you need to do, you go back to for migrants, migration skills assessment, your migration skills assessment, categories, occupational categories. And then you want to, if you're going to apply for professional engineer, you got to open obviously the professional engineer. So there's a link here, occupational categories, professional engineer, competency standards for professional engineers, stage 1. Remember, stage 1 is the validation, stage 2 is for chartered professional engineers. So you open stage 1. So that's the PDF in there. So here you're going to read all the contents of the competencies for professional engineers. So this is very, very important reading. You will need to understand everything here. Okay, so that's one reading. The other one there, let's have a look where the summary statement is. Prepare your application here. Go to the booklet. There's a summary statement part of it. Where is that? Career episode summary statement. Professional engineer. So this is your summary statement. As you can see, in the left-hand column, well, my left-hand column, it's a descriptive of the competencies. So you will find here all the 16 competencies. And in the middle column, you're going to write why you believe you are competent, a brief summary of how you have applied the element. And then in the right-hand column, you will need to write the paragraph number in the career episode. So let's say, for example, what competence is this one here? Let's say 3.2. Effective oral and written communication in professional and lay domains. So let's say, for example, just hypothetically, in career episode 1, I wrote a work instruction on how to assemble clutch in a manufacturing plant. I'm just making that up. I don't know if that exists. Maybe for a mechanical engineer. So you write that, and then you're saying that it's going to be C1 point, let's say 3, C1.11, C1.26. And then you're going to also say that in C2, blah, 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 blah. And then you're going to say C2 point. Yeah, it's a little bit strange with the formatting, so you may need to copy and paste and put in Excel. But you can put here then, let's say, C2.13 and so on. So you probably got it. In this column here, in the right-hand column, you got to put all the numbers for C1, C2, and C3. You just need one summary statement for the 3 career episodes. You don't need to have 3 summary statements. You just need one for all the 3 career episodes. And here, when you write why you believe you achieved that competency, the summary statement is quite long. In my view, the summary statement is the most difficult report to write. Why is that? One, because there are 16 competencies, and you need to know what examples in your career episodes can be referred to each of the competencies. Because if you don't know, you cannot then write the paragraph number. Sorry. So you need to know what examples are referred to each competency. And when you know which examples are in your career episode, then you can write which paragraph number it is. If you don't know what example is, you're not going to know what paragraph number you need to write. So then, how do you do? So that's why I say that the summary statement is the most difficult document for you to write, because the assessor, to make you competent in 3.1, for example, ethical conduct and professional accountability, the assessor, he or she will read here in this middle column, all right, in career episode number 1, this engineer is saying that they demonstrated the competency by doing this, and that, and the paragraph number are those ones. And then he or she, the assessor, will go to that paragraph number. If that paragraph number has nothing to do with this competency, the assessor will cross it out and go to another one. Let's have a look at that one there, and reads, there's nothing to do with that, cross that out. So that's why it's so important that you understand the competencies, and then you know what examples are linked to those competencies. Okay? And I said it's just one summary statement for the 16 career episodes. I know that it can be quite confusing, and it is confusing. I didn't say that since the beginning. I didn't say that was easy. I said that the process was simple. It is simple, just 6 steps. You know probably better than me now what the 6 steps are: personal information, category, occupation, academic, employment, reports, and application. 6 steps, very simple. But then it's not easy, because you need to write 16 competencies in the career episodes. You need to understand which example I refer to each competency, because then you need to number the paragraph in your summary statement. So that's why it's not very easy. However, if you read very carefully the booklet, if you read the competencies very carefully, understand word by word what that means, you have obviously better chances to find good examples that will be in your career episode that you can use in your summary statement. Clear as mud or not? I know that it can be quite alarming, but I can't really help much, because you need to understand really. Where's my PowerPoint? You need to understand the competencies very well. And Gerson, how do you know about competencies? When I got my first job here in Australia outside of cleaning, I don't know if you know, but I came here with my wife in 2005 as international students, as I said before. And after a few weeks, even though we came already a bit older, I was already 34, 33 years old. I had a good job, very good job in Brazil. We came here to stay 6 months. We had money to stay here 6 months without working. But our colleagues and friends at school, they all very young like you guys, 20, 22, 23, 24, fresh graduated, and they're working, cleaner, hospitality, etc. And we said to my wife, why not? We're spending our money in Brazil. We can work here. Why not? So I was cleaning toilets and those sort of things as a first job. But then I got a job as a trainer and consultant in project management and business. And part of that, I had to do some training, and I did my certificate in training and assessment. Nowadays, it's called training and education. And I learned about competencies. I learned about addressing competencies because I had to assess my students. And it helped me a lot to write my career episodes and my summary statement, because then finally I understood what is a competency and how you need to write to address those competencies. Because I was doing that with my students. And then I applied to myself, and that's how I finally got to write my career episodes, my summary statement, and after I submitted, in 2 weeks, I got my approval. And that's the methodology that I teach my students. I teach about competencies. I don't write career episodes. I teach my students how to write in the better way, and they do all by themselves. So that's why it's so important that you understand about competencies. So that is, I think, the old version in the old booklet of the summary statement, but the competencies are still the same. It's just a format that is different. But yeah, the competencies are still the same, 16 competencies. So just to break the ice a little bit, you're probably tired of hearing my voice. We'll do some knowledge check. Again, I was going to use the pool. Let's see if I can, if it works. No, no, there's no, I don't know why, but it's not working. All right, true or false? I need to attach copies of my course certificates in my CPD report. Write in the chat, true or false? What do you think? False, false, false. Yeah, false. Yes, it is false. But again, remember, if you're just making that up, be aware that Engineers Australia may audit your CPD. I said before, I already been audited a couple of times, and I had to provide copies of my certificate, calendar entries of my meetings and my visits, certificates of attendance of my interviews in Engineers Australia, those sort of things. So another knowledge check. So what's Gerson's success recipe in the validation process? Having 100% writing skills, having 50% planning and 50% writing, having 100% planning, or having 80% planning and 20% writing. What do you reckon? And how good are you in writing? Are you a good writer? Once you answer this one, just answer to me, please. Are you a good writer? I will answer the question. Yeah, Larissa said number 4, and she's bad writing. Yeah, me too. Mark, not too bad. Good. It's important to say that although I'm not a good writer, naturally, I write very good reports, because part of my job is to write reports, interpret reports, business cases and those sort of things. So even though I'm not a natural good writer, I I have to use some techniques to write a good report. The same techniques that I teach in my mentoring program, I use for myself because I, I don't like to write reports, but I have to, and because I don't like, probably that's why I'm not good writer. So I have to use some techniques that I developed myself so I can write very good reports, business cases to be approved, and those sort of things. So let's see some of the answers here. Larissa said bad writing. Mark said not too bad. Timothy said almost 70% good, I think. That's good. Enough to write formally. Liz said I need to improve. Larissa, Chat GPT is my writing. Yes, I need to start using Chat GPT. Even at the department at work there, I think that they came up with their own artificial intelligence because obviously working in a government agency, they are all worried about the prompts that we will put in Chat GPT because of confidentiality, commercial and confidence, some of the security, data breaches, and those sort of things. You never know when you put a lot of information there. You don't know where it goes, who's going to access that information. So that's why at work we're not really supposed to use Chat GPT. So they came up with their own. I think Microsoft has its own artificial intelligence, and our the information technology branch came up with something. But I recognize that, artificial intelligence is the way in the future. But I believe also that Engineers Australia is concerned about people using Chat GPT to write career episodes. So they say that they've got how to identify that. Who knows? All right, so most of you guys got it right in my recipe. If you plan very well, even if you're not a good writer, you can write a good career episode and a good summary statement because you've done your planning. Knowledge check number 7. Do I need work experience to validate my engineering qualification in Australia? Yes, minimum of 1 year. Yes, without minimum period. No, you can just use your academic engineering experience if you want to. What do you reckon? Three, three, three. No, you can use just your academic engineering experience if you want to. Yeah, that's correct. You guys paying attention. Good. Knowledge check number 8. Which of the following should you avoid writing in your career episodes? 1. I calculated the structural load. I designed the sediment basin. We carried out the machine simulation in the test bench. Yes, we. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable to say I, isn't it? When you always saying I did this, I did that, looks so selfish. But that's how Engineers Australia, they want you to do. One thing that I probably should mention to you is when you're choosing your experiences, and we're going to have a look at some of the definitions, but you probably should avoid using project management experiences if you are applying, obviously, for professional engineer. A lot of engineers, especially civil engineers, they graduate and start working as project managers, construction managers, site managers, and they ended up using a lot of project management experience instead of engineering experience. So Engineers Australia, they're very clear. And I remember one day I was in one of those interviews, and then the assessor was talking with the candidate, and I was with another engineer representing the industry to make questions and assessing from a civil engineering perspective. But the assessor said to the candidate, remember, we are here to assess your engineering capabilities, not your project management capabilities. If you use project management examples, you should go to the Australian Institute of Project Management, not to Engineers Australia. So just have that in mind. Yes, you guys pay attention, really. Yeah, we. Yeah, number 3 is no good. The only way that it potentially could be good is we carried out the machine simulation in the test bench, and uh, my personal activity was to monitor the distress gauge, or we carried out the machine simulation in the test bench, and I measured the dislodgement or whatever, etc. So you can use we, but if you don't put what you did, avoid doing that. Okay. And knowledge check number 9, true or false? It is mandatory to address all 16 competencies in each of the career episodes. What do you reckon? False, false, false? Yes. It is false. It's not mandatory to address all 16 competencies. However, I encourage you guys to make that effort to have all 16 competencies in each of the career episodes. If you don't have it, sometimes the experience that you're going to use is not complex enough, and then it may not cover all the 16 competencies. So that's one of the things to help you to choose your experience. Sorry. Is your experience complex enough? The very simple example that I use is I'm a civil engineer. Let's say that I designed 3 kilometers of footpath, calçada, and cost me, even when I delivered the footpath, it cost us $500,000, for example. Wow, $500,000, 3 kilometers. Yeah, but it was a footpath. How complex is that? It's not complex at all. So different from if I designed a big span slab, a free span slab, for example, 40 meters wide, 30 meters long, with no columns, for example. That's quite complex to design. So it's different. So that would be a complex design where you will have lots and lots of elements, engineering elements and fundamentals and principles that you had to apply to be able to come up with that design. But designing 3 kilometers of footpath, yeah, you can probably use some calculations, but you certainly not going to have that many engineering elements and principles that you can explore. You probably didn't even have a team to help you to design that. So that's what I meant about having a complex experience when you're choosing your career episodes. So you are almost there. So with this, we kind of finished the whole process. So you know the validation pathways, you know the 6 steps for the CDR process, you know about each of those steps, what you need to do, the minimum scores for the test, English tests, the types of categories, and we're going to, I promise you, we're going to go to the occupation. We're going to look at some of the occupations. So let's see how quick you are. I'll just see if there's anybody in, I think there's somebody in Instagram and YouTube. So I've got to keep an eye on the 3 here. So the first one that type in the comment, the engineering field, I left the door open, sorry. The engineering field, and we will have a look at the ANZ SEO occupation now. So I will, while you're right, I will put the website here. And then we can have a look. I will share the screen. So engineering field, your engineering field, did you hear the question? So the first one to write the engineering field, we're going to have a look at the ANZ SEO occupation. Mark, mechanical engineering. All right, so let's have a look how you find your definition. So you go here. You can put engineer, ANZ SEO, and you'll find here the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Yeah, the Australian Bureau of Statistics. So that's the federal government website. So when you click on that one there, I'll paste in the comments so you guys know where it is. Put in Instagram as well, in YouTube. So when you go to that, ANZ SEO is Australian and New Zealand. Standard classification of occupations. Okay, so you go to minor group engineering professionals, and then there are some subsections. So here we're going to say industrial, mechanical, and production engineers. And then the mechanical engineer plans, designs, organizes, and oversees the assembly, erection, operation, and maintenance of mechanical and process plant and installations. So this is the definition of the mechanical engineer. So why is that important? It is important to when you are going to choose the experiences that you're going to write in your career episodes. You got to make sure that your experiences they match with this definition. If your experience does not match with this definition, there could be good chances that Engineers Australia may reject your career episode. Sometimes you write, let's say, 2 career episodes that they match with this definition, 1 career episode that doesn't match. And then Engineers Australia may ask you to rewrite 1 career episode. If they ask you to rewrite 1 career episode, they're probably going to ask you to rewrite the summary statement as well, because it will change. The paragraph numbers will change as well. So it is critical, the choice of the experiences that you're going to write your career episode is critical. And I teach that to my students. You can address all the 16 competencies on the wrong experience. You can do that. You can choose a wrong experience, and even so, you can address all the 16 competencies. If you do that, Engineers Australia will probably going to ask you to rewrite your career episode, because fundamentally it's wrong, because it's not matching the definition of a mechanical engineer. So just be careful with that. You need to choose the right experience and address the 16 competencies. So be sure that you read the definition and be very clear that you understand what the definition of the occupation is. Is there a definition for specialization? Rafael is asking. In this case, there are air conditioning engineer and heating and ventilation engineer. There's not quite the definition. It's pretty much the way that I see it, and I have one engineer that he was what they call HVAC engineer, heating, ventilation, air conditioning engineering, HVAC engineer. So he pretty much, the occupation definition is the same, but his examples were towards designing air conditioning systems, designing, he was also fire engineer, so, but mainly the air conditioning and ventilation and heating. So he was designing those things. He was the dimension of the pipes and the compressors and everything else. It's all about the definition of the mechanical engineer. He was planning, he designed, and then not just he was the designer, but also he was also assembling, manufacturing those components and installing machines and etc. Working together with civil engineers because of the concrete foundations and everything else. So pretty much the definition is still the mechanical engineer, but you may be using particular examples of, let's say, air conditioning engineer. And what's going to happen is that in your letter, you will get your specialization. Instead of coming as mechanical engineer, potentially it will come as air conditioning engineer. All right. So you can go to that website, the Australian and New Zealand Standard Occupation of Occupations from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, and check the definition of your occupation. And I think now we're getting close to the draw of the 15 minutes of free consulting, I think. Yes, so this is just a reminder about the discount of the 75% in my mentoring program. So if you want to take a screenshot, probably that's a good time for you to take a screenshot and post in your stories, and go to the Instagram post and write in the comments one learning from tonight's live session. And the QR code is there, so you can access there, or you can just go to my profile and you will find the green post. Okay, so for this one, what about if we turn on our cameras? I'll take another screenshot so I can post your happy faces in my stories. What about that? Well, I will load the website with the comments. There were a couple. I don't know if more people did it, but if there's not a lot, then the winner will be much easier to find. So let's have a look. All right. Hi, Larissa, Saru, Raquel. I think I will see. Where's that? I might allow the microphone. Yeah, Rafael, Timothy, Mark, Alice. Good. All right, I will take a screenshot. So smile. Yeah, I think everybody's smiling. Good. I'll save it. Okay, so where's my draw here? I will share this screen. I'll stop share the PowerPoint and I'll share this one. Looks like we just got 2 comments, so it's going to be quite easy. Let's see. Alice, I think you're here, Alice. Yes, you are. Congratulations, Alice. Thank you very much for doing the post. I will talk to you just to see when we can do the consulting. And tomorrow we're going to have two draws, one for the 75% discount, and then for those that didn't win, I'm going to give away another 15 minutes using the post of the 15 minutes of free consulting. Okay. So tomorrow we're going to draft the action plan for your validation process, something that I haven't done before. It's going to be the first time that I'm going to do this live with you guys. Tomorrow I'm going to send, before the live session, I'm going to send you an email with a file, like a template for you to, if you're going to work on a mobile, it's going to be a bit difficult, but if you have a laptop or desktop, you can then open up in your desktop, and then we will try to populate that action plan together. So at least with the main points for your validation process, we're going to talk about some of the time frames that perhaps it's reasonable for you to do. And hopefully it can be a little bit of a start for your validation process. We're going to have Michelle Hello from ACE in PTE. She's going to talk about, obviously, the English test. And I'm going to share with you a few more hints and tips to prepare your CDR successfully. And going to do the two draws. And I will be opening my new group of the mentoring program with a very good special offer with a very good discount for you guys. That's going to be just for like 48 hours. And I'm going to explain how the mentoring program works as well. But you don't need to be part of the mentoring program to be validated. There are people that they are, how they call, self-taught or self-learners. With this workshop and my 327 videos, I think, that I've got in my YouTube channel, a lot of people, they watch those videos and they manage to do that. The mentoring program is for those ones that they need a little bit of a push and they need a little bit more confidence to understand that they are doing in the right way. All right, any particular question that you guys have? I'll check here in Instagram and YouTube. No? So certainly I would like to thank you guys very much again for your participation and your engagement. And I'm really looking forward to see you tomorrow so we can put together this action plan to help you guys to start your application for your validation process already on Wednesday. And during the week, maybe Alice, I'm going to have a consulting service already on Thursday, and then I will try to get on Wednesday, or perhaps maybe on during the week, together with question and answers as well. So I will be contacting you, Alice, so we can have our consulting session. It's going to be on Instagram, as I said yesterday. So a live session on Instagram where I share the screen with a person, and then the person asks the question, I answer the question, and then the answer and the information can be shared with more people. So that's why I do live on Instagram. Okay. So thank you very much, guys. And I hope to see you all tomorrow, 7 p.m. Brisbane time, and to work in your action plan. Also to listen about the PTE test with Michelle and do a little bit of revision of the whole validation process. Okay. Thank you very much. And I'll see you then. Bye bye.